This one's wild. I kind of heard. I started hearing like just like news articles, like clips about this on social media, on Instagram, and I was like, "What is happening? Like, what are we talking about?"
Like, I thought this was just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
but
no.
once I start reading into it more and like looking at like more like
I think no, sorry, finish.
I was just like looking at more videos and like actual more accredited companies like reporting on this. I was just like, holy shit, no, this is real. Like, what the fuck?
I think this story illustrates perfectly the kind of like the mentality that Israelis have toward Palestinians. Of like, there's a quote we're going to talk about from a Likud. He's a Knesset member, I believe. He's like he's a congressman, essentially. He's an Israeli congressman, for lack of a better term. And this like very much, I think this perfectly and succinctly encapsulates kind of how Israelis think about Palestinians and kind of how they view them.
They're
right?
racist. Yeah,
but it's more than racist. It's not like, you know, Jim Crow South was racist, right? But they didn't necessarily want to genocide every black person in Alabama.
This is more like slavery racist.
It's just a complete dehumanization. It's just like they literally view them as like less than human, as parasites.
They look at them as animals,
as absolute animals, and so and
animals have more rights in Israel than Palestinians.
They do, and also I'm going to talk about animals, and I want to give a content warning too for the next for the rest of the we have a short story at the end of the episode, but for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about this, and this is going to have
trigger warning.
Yeah, this is definitely a trigger content warning. This is going to have extreme kind of depictions of extreme rape and violence and bestiality and dogs raping people, and this is going to be very
it's sad.
This is going to be very graphic, and this is going to be a very kind of tough topic that we're about to talk about. So just heads up there. To kind of actually get into it, as of Monday, there's been a large protest happened in Israel. There was reports that there were unconfirmed rumors and reports that an undetermined amount of Israeli soldiers, the IDF soldiers, were accused of gang raping somebody in a what is essentially a concentration camp. It's like a detention center in occupied Palestine. The actual place is called like Sede Taman. I'll pull up the name of that in a second here, so I can get the actual name of the concentration camp, the detention center, whatever. So the allegations are that 9 or 10 soldiers gang raped a Palestinian man who was just at this detention center. And so the military force went to go and detain and question the soldiers. While, like, I guess word got out that the military was going to detain the soldiers, and so the army and Israelis protested that action, protested the idea that they were to be picked up. So then it kind of escalated, and it kind of like there was some rioting and some protesting, and all in support of rape, that they should be allowed to rape Palestinian prisoners.
Oh, where's that one video? We need to show that video of in the courtroom them arguing for it.
I have that quote here actually. Yeah, sure. So let's talk about this, and then we'll play that video. This is from CBS. A member of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party, speaking Monday at a meeting of lawmakers, justified the rape and abuse of Palestinian prisoners, shouting angrily at colleagues questioning the alleged behavior that anything was legitimate to do to terrorists in custody. Lawmaker, I'm gonna butcher his name.
Hanuk
Milwitsky. He's an Israeli parliamentarian. He's a member of the Knesset. He's a part of Benjamin Netanyahu's far right party. He was asked by a Palestinian politician, the lawmaker was asked, as he defended the alleged abuse, whether it was legitimate to insert a stick into a person's rectum. And remember, we reported on that a few weeks ago, that was something that they've been reported doing. As they're like putting like hot sticks, and they're anally raping men in prison with hot sticks. That's just something that they do, just as like a method of torture in these Palestinian and Israeli
basically for
centers.
shits and giggles. They're just torturing people.
And this member of the Knesset, this member of Benjamin Netanyahu's party, replied to that question, is it legitimate to insert a stick in a person's rectum? And he said, Yes, if he is a Hamas militant, everything is
Nukba,
legitimate to
yeah.
do everything. Yeah, he actually said if he is a Nukba, everything is legitimate to do everything. Nukba just means
Everything.
a
And
Hamas militant. So these people are in full support of raping, torturing, just whatever it takes. Not for like interrogation, not for any
just
just
to
cause,
do it.
just because they don't like them, just because they
yeah.
are less than human. They are cockroaches to them. So they think it's fine to just rape them in prison, beat them. There are so many reports of arms and legs having to be amputated because of they're just in restraint so tight that it just breaks.
so long.
For so long and so tight they're in restraint. So these are children too. A lot of times these are children. There are multiple reports of these gang rapes being raped with instruments like hot sticks. There are reports now that they're like getting their dogs, like their military dogs, to rape people, to rape Palestinians prisoners. And I should also remind you that these are not like Palestinian criminals. These people have not been charged with a crime. These are just people that are just being detained in just detention centers. Basically, they just round up Palestinians and put them in concentration camps and brutally rape them and beat them and torture them. These are your allies if you are saying Israel has the right to defend itself. So, as always, absolutely fuck Israel, death to Israel. This is some absolute.
This is
just,
crazy.
They're fucking monsters.
And it's not just random people or some psychotic, right wingers in Israel. Smotrich himself has basically condoned the behavior of going down there and demanding the release of these 9 or 10 IDF soldiers.
Yeah, it was like almost like a civil war was about to break out over these over releasing these people that had just committed the rape. They think it's so okay to rape Palestinians that the thought of arresting somebody for raping, not even arresting, just holding them for questioning. They just wanted to interview them. They just wanted to ask them some questions. That caused such an outrage. And this was the far-right national security minister, Itamar bin Gvir. He has said on social media, take your hands off the reservists. So like these are just speaking of the men who did the raping. Take your hands off them. They did nothing wrong. Basically, it's totally fine to rape Palestinians.
Yeah. I do want to mention there was also members of the what's called Knesset.
The parliament Knesset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knesset. Yeah. They were there after the protest.
Oh yeah. It wasn't just
There were
it wasn't just
members
military
of
people
the Israeli
protesting.
parliament.
Yeah.
Protesting that they should be able to do whatever they want to Palestinian detainees.
100%. Yeah. There's the reports of at least 2, I think, Likud member. Again, this is all Benjamin Netanyahu's party.
If you don't know, there is an incident right now in SDS where the military police come to arrest soldiers who are guarding the Nukba terrorists. The insanity that our country is having around the story is crazy, and we need to stop it. I think that we need to set a personal example here, and I say now, and I call on my coalition friends. I will stand up and I will leave this place. I will not vote for anything until the story and this insanity that there's someone in the prosecutor's office who thinks that this is possible to come and arrest soldiers who are doing the knock.
Yeah. This guy says to insert a stick into a person's rectum. Is that legitimate?
So shut up.
If he is Nukba, everything is legitimate. Everything. Do you know what these people did? There are things that you don't do.
It's crazy.
Actually, he's not Palestinian. He's a Jew.
No, he is a Jew.
Yeah. Okay, I thought he was a Palestinian. I read somewhere that it was a Palestinian politician who was the one pushing back on him, but apparently it's just it looks like it's just another member of the Knesset.
Yeah. If you could just notice, like, for the people that like are watching the physical video, even if the people that are listening to the audio, you can hear him like yelling like passionately. You can see like the veins coming out of his face that he is so passionate about raping Palestinians.
Yeah, or that he should be allowed, or that soldiers should just be carte blanche allowed to rape Palestinians.
That like, why is there a problem? Like he's confused and angry that there's a problem with raping human beings.
Yeah.
That they should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. How far have we come that this type of racism is still real in this world? This is like slavery level racism. This is even back then they had like some sort of rights. They had some sort of be like, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. They had like the 3/5 compromise.
I don't know. I'm not going to defend slavery over.
I'm not defending
I know,
slavery.
but I see what your point, but I don't want to like parse.
No. All I'm doing is I'm comparing this to slavery.
Yeah.
To the point where like even with slavery, they had a 3/5 compromise. They don't even see them as human beings. They see these people as less than dogs, to the point that dogs can rape them. So it's like, what worse? How much worse can you get than slavery, right? So essentially, Palestinians and Gazans, people that are a part of Hamas, are literally slaves. They're slaves.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, I mean, like, especially not assuming like this detention center story notwithstanding, like even just like their movement is controlled, their checkpoints are controlled, just they need permits to do any kind of like to get water, electricity, like cell service, internet. It's all controlled by
your master,
by Israel. So yeah, like their entire lives,
it's literally slavery.
Yeah, I mean their entire lives are just completely dictated to. They have no freedom. They have no self-control, no self direction. They have no self sense of anything, really. Their entire day-to-day, from
even their work,
their
is for Israeli companies.
Yeah, and they're issued, their work, like essentially work visas, are issued by Israel. They're, like we mentioned, checkpoints to travel to and from their work are highly controlled to get in and out. And this is primarily a West Bank thing, because Gaza is kind of so destroyed now.
Gaza's
the infrastructure,
worse, they just kill you.
Yeah, Gaza, they'll just kill you. And I mean, like there were reports. There was that doctor's report of like that little girl who had like she'd been like double tapped. Like they're finding dead bodies of children, and like they're examining them. There's some Palestinian doctors, and no, these aren't Palestinian doctors. These are like third party international doctors that are examining these corpses of children. And it's like they have been sniped. Like they're like perfect headshots on all these kids. There's like they're having like one in the heart and one in the head of all these children. And so it's like there are Israeli snipers that are just out there hunting children, Palestinian children, for sport. Essentially, is like what this doctor kind of concluded from this. And like, again, these are the people that you're supporting if you say Israel has a right to defend itself, hunting toddlers for sport, or hunting children for sport.
Here's the thing. In West Bank, they basically are slaves. Right?
Yeah, and this is all Gaza. West Bank's a whole different story. Yeah,
in West Bank, they're slaves, right? In Gaza, it's like Nazi Germany's what they did to the Jews.
Yeah, like a Warsaw Ghetto type
thing.
Yeah,
so it's just like, pick your poison. Do you want to be like a slave, or do you want to be just genocided? And so at what point is this okay? At what point is like, does somebody do something about it?
And we've said that every week now, is like, at what point does somebody say something? And then I saw one report today from somebody. It was like, this won't be stopped without foreign intervention. Somebody has to stop it, and it obviously won't. And typically, that would be the quote unquote job of America, right? Like it would be an American thing. It's like intervention. That's what America is so proud of doing everywhere around the world, is American intervention. Rock, flag, and eagle. Get those troops on the ground, save these people. We did it in Somalia. We did it in, we didn't really do it in Bosnia, but like we were involved in Serbia. We did it in Somalia. Like we have interjected ourselves into every conflict for 100 years. And if not us, then who? And this is why we've kind of been calling on like Egypt or Iran or any country in the area to kind of stand up and do something. And I guess that's actually a pretty good segue into kind of our final little goofy story of the night. Is